Yeah, Hexagons definitely do like to keep receipts. We promised this last week. We didn't get to it, and it may not necessarily be the most entertaining topic, but I think it's worth exploring because we had somebody ask it last week. We didn't quite get that far, and Ewok, I know you delved into it a lot, but there was a lot of FUD about Hex, not necessarily about Hex. I mean, not just Hex. This has been happening with every crypto, basically. But specifically how Hex, and you're going to have to correct me because I keep forgetting, but how it passes or fails the HOWEY test, whatever you have to do to not be a security. So I'm going to let you kind of take it away with that a little bit because I do think it's an interesting conversation because I think I don't want to say the conclusion before you even start, but with you and I speaking about this in the green room before the show, it's kind of like the answer is always going to be that the SEC is going to try to word things in a way where they can get their fingers into anything.
Sure.
And ideally that's what they want to do.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I'll let you take it away and kind of go over the main points here.
Well, so yes, to your point before we even get started, the legalese of a lot of the writing in this stuff can be interpreted many ways. But the four prongs of the HOWEY tests are investment of money to a common enterprise with the expectation of profit derived solely from the work of others. Now, that's the way Richard has always said it. I see that they've removed the word solely, not knowing if I'm sure there's a reason for that. Again, the ambiguity is only in their favor when they do those type of things. So you have to fail the HOWEY test to be considered a non-security. So we don't want to pass it. Passing it means it is a security and not a commodity. So we keep that in mind. So we go actually to the actual site. You want to go to the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission site.
I want you to read that entire page.
Well, we're not going to read it. But, we're going to go through some of these, the investment of money. Now, it only has to fail one leg to be considered a non-security. Obviously, just about everything takes the investment of money. So that's, you might as well throw that out the window. It doesn't really, in order to get anything, whether it's stocks or crypto or anything, it starts with the investment of money. Now, many people define money as different things, but we're talking actual fiat currency. But here it says another digital asset or other type of consideration. The common enterprise thing is very good for HEX because there isn't really a common enterprise. It's a smart contract. There is no company. There is no CEO. There's no building. There's no staff. There's no board. Anything like that doesn't exist. We have we have the creator who is Richard, but as far as I'm concerned, he's just a cheerleader at this point. He's a good marketer, and that they do get into marketing things down here later as well. And the reliance on the effort of others. With HEX, the contract, you do your own work. That's why it was set up that way. You create your mint or
careful with your words there.
I am being very careful. You perform the lockup of your coins. So you do that on your own. They get burned. And then the contract takes over. And then when it's done, you end up minting your yield at the end. So nobody else does any work. If you don't do the work, you don't get the inflation. So
HEXPassiveIncome.com. My friend Crypto Coffee has created what I think is probably the best course for a new cryptocurrency investor. Not only that, but these courses usually charge an arm and a leg. Crypto Coffee is only charging $200. I think right now he actually has a discount for $150. I have a link below in the description. If you are new to crypto, do not understand HEX and how it works, click the link below. It's a quick, easy course. He only gives you the basics. I personally, myself, have thought about creating an intro to crypto course in the past. I don't think there's any reason to do so because Matt, Crypto Coffee, has already taken care of that. And I don't think anything needs to be added by anybody else. So check it out. The link is in the description, and sign up to HEX Passive Income today.
Couple things already. So we've, already pretty much failed the HOWEY test in more ways than one. But then as you read on through it, it is a decent read if you want to get into it. Of course, people that invest in things are going to have a reasonable expectation of profits, but there is some things in here that it says where you kind of, it's a known thing. Let's go down here a little bit further. It says other relevant considerations. It says here, when assessing whether there's reasonable expectation of the profit derived from the efforts of others, the court looks to the economic reality of the transaction. And then it says, although no one of the following characteristics or use of consumption necessarily is determinative, the stronger the presence of these things down here, the less likely the HOWEY test is met. And the very first one is the distributed ledger network and digital asset are fully developed and operational, which it is. HEX was released as a finished product. There's no roadmap. There's no promises. There's no future work that is going to be done. So that's a big one. It says the holders of the digital asset are immediately able to use it for its intended functionality. Also, day one, this was available to us, the functionality of it. So, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things in here that come to light with it. And as you read down through these, all these little footnotes, it says the last one, it says where a purchaser is not attracted solely by the prospects of a return, but is motivated by a desire to use or consume the item. Well, yeah, there's also some things in here about promoting it as well. That it's understood that what they call the AP, which is the what does the AP stand for? I forget, the actual participant or something like that, is active participant. It goes into the, does the purchaser reasonably expect to rely on the efforts? And then it goes on to say how they're also understood that they're going to talk about it and they're going to promote it, essentially. So, yeah, it is a good read. And there, like I said, there are several things in here that talk about why, HEX is pretty much one of the few that was released a finished product. There is no company. It's just a smart contract. It's locked. It's immutable. It can't be changed. And a lot of the things that have been developed within the HEX community, like the Hedron, like the Maximus, Icosa, all these things, they're doing it because Richard taught that, that you want to release a finished product. You want these smart contracts to not have backdoors. They're finished. They're done. And when you can say those things, it definitely increases the odds of a fight if there ever were to be one with the SEC. So
it's a great idea because, you're creating something from the beginning like Bitcoin that is a finished product. Now, the quote, I guess you would say the disadvantage of that is that you can't edit it, but that's a feature and benefit, obviously, because you want this to be a commodity. So what you do is you do have the innovation of the things like Hedron and Icosa and these different things built on top of HEX that enhance it, make the long-term staking in the contract more sticky. And, I think Hedron is definitely an idea that Richard likes, and has been supportive of. And one of the few, I think, as far as things that have been kind of built directly in relation to HEX. But, anything that's going to help that longevity is great, and I think people have clearly supported Hedron above and beyond anything else that's been built on top of HEX, and I think with good reason. But that's what's cool about it is like, yeah, these things are all released as finished products, which, you know, should make them commodities in our eyes, obviously. However, people want to change terminology and definition of things, but that's what's so great about it too. You leave it open for somebody to innovate and make it better and have more things in the ecosystem. So,
right.
Yeah, I think it's been great.
Well, and you know, the thing is with Bitcoin, it's not a finished product. They're all, you know, they introduced SegWit and they Lightning Network and things like that. So, you know, you can't say that it was done as a completed project, nor Ethereum. You know, there's still ETH 2.0. You know, now they've switched to proof of stake, which could end up getting them in trouble. So who knows if that will you know, the improvements that they've done, which are good in one sense, maybe bad in another, as far as decentralization and who owns the nodes. We'll kind of have to see how that plays out. But, you know, we can't launch Pulse Chain as a complete product either for the same reason. You know, you have to leave that open so that if things do improve at any time, you can patch those in. You know, you can always make improvements and changes, things like that. So, you know, unfortunately, you can't launch a layer one as a completed product.